At what point do we get to the capitulation? Do you feel like we get to the capitulation phase? Like, what are you
Yeah.
anticipating for that?
Yeah. So number one, I don't think we're even close to that at this point, unfortunately, right? So, one of the things you look for, what we saw Terra Luna collapse in crypto. That was a big event, right? So you saw crypto really seeing some of these, but it didn't go to the extent where people started to totally freak out about their crypto holdings. So that tells me crypto still has more downside to go. I think at minimum 12, 13,000 on Bitcoin. I even have a worst case scenario of 3,500, which would mirror the Amazon collapse in the .com era, right? So Amazon dropped 95% from peak to trough in the .com collapse. If you look at like Amazon, what it is today, and ultimately is Bitcoin that type of big entity, then that may be the foreboding for what we could see there. So one of the biggest concerns I have is that we're entering this new phase of the market where long-term investors are really going to struggle. If you look at the long-term investor, they've really been in control since really 2009. I mean, every dip's been bought. We've made new all-time high after new all-time high. And there really hasn't been a scenario where we've had a long bear market. However, I think now you're starting to get into that situation because the Fed is going to be handcuffed from printing us out of the next recession in a meaningful way because the inflation is going to stay too high. So let's take a look at some charts here. I want to bring up some charts, show you guys what I got going on here. This is the Bitcoin chart. You can see we're beautifully bouncing off of the 2017 highs. This is the high going back to 2017. We bounced here, and now we're retesting. Bitcoin may see upside to about 23.5, then I think down to 13 to 12. And then if we go to the spiders here, take a look at the spiders.
Flag right there? Is that
What's that?
Flag? Was that a bear flag on the is that a bear flag on the Bitcoin chart?
Yeah, right here or here.
Yeah, right there.
Yep. So that is the only caveat is I feel like you've had bear flag right here and another one here. And so it's almost too easy to think that the bear flag will work out perfectly. So my guess is everyone's expecting us to break lower in Bitcoin. People are kind of feeling like that right now. So my guess is you'll have a little bit of a short-term move up, get a few more people bullish, and then we'll probably retrace to this channel, right? So this was a beautiful channel that price stayed within. It broke, and oftentimes what happens is you go back and retrace to that level, right? So my guess is there's a decent chance we go right back here, then we see the bigger move to the downside on the charts. So yeah, I mean, this is all weird, right? Because the chart, you're right now it's a little bit more bearish, although it is a rounded bottom a little bit, which is not quite as ideal bear flag as this one was over here. But it's certainly, again, there's no denying that Bitcoin still to me has downside. And I would just counter that with, just for people out there thinking about it, there's been a lot of people that have said, oh, the lows are in at 17.5. How does that make sense when this is the first bear market for Bitcoin where the Fed isn't printing money, right? So really, if anything, this should be the worst bear market of Bitcoin's history because it's the one where the Fed's not quantitative easing, right? So yeah, I mean, that's just some crazy stuff going on here. Now, crypto-wise, about 33% invested in various cryptos. Basically, I was looking for the bounce off that level we talked about, which was the 2017 high. So I picked up a little bit of Chainlink, a little Solana, a little Avalanche, just for a quick bounce here, as I do think they'll bounce up. And I think, we could just take a look at like Solana here. But I think it's bouncing up just a little bit here. Yep, just getting a little bit of an uptick here, maybe a small micro bull flag here. So I think, resistance around 35 is probably the extent of what I'm expecting. But I think for the most part, yeah, I have definitely in my mind the idea that once we get into the mid to low teens, that's where I really start to buy up more and more Bitcoin. And then I'll leave myself room in case it gets into like below 10,000. But yeah, definitely proper allocation is important here. When I say load up, I'm not talking about investing all my money, right? It's strictly a percentage of my net worth is allocated towards crypto. And at most, I would have that amount in crypto at one time. So for me, I picked up a little bit as just short-term swing trades. The only ones for long-term investments I would go near, for me at least, is Ethereum and Bitcoin. And the thought process is just what you said, is that we don't know what's going to replace which technology, which one, So like if you looked at 2 years ago, if you looked at the top 20 cryptos, a lot of those are no longer in the top 20 and they've fallen down. And now you have like Solana, Avalanche, which weren't in the top 20 a couple years ago. So people have to be really careful. I mean, it's okay to take a long shot with a very small amount of money and just roll the dice. But if you're really trying to be an investor, you need to stick with the best of breed in crypto, because I think before the bear market is over, a lot more projects will go bust than what we've seen, even with the Terra Luna and even with Celsius and all these other things. I think a lot more will happen negatively.
So you're thinking probably late September, October, we'll probably see more downside?
Yeah, correct. So I think you might get a little bit of a bounce here early September. We're around this 3-day holiday weekend. Markets are starting to think maybe the Fed is coming to an end of their hiking cycle. I think by late September, October, that might be the case, but then I think we're going to start to see weaker economic data that's going to freak the markets out about maybe the Fed already pushed us into a recession and it could be a bad one. And then the biggest question, which could really be detrimental to the stock market, is how does the Fed get us out of the next recession? Every past recession, they've printed us out. If inflation is still even at 4 to 5%, and we know it's way higher right now, how do they print money with 4 to 5? I mean, what are they going to send it to 15, 20% inflation by doing that? They're not going to do that. And so you could be in this prolonged recession that just really stinks, frankly. So it's going to be a trader's market. Great to get educated, learn how to read charts. It's super helpful in guiding to like entries and exits.
That's it for today, guys. If you found this video useful, then don't forget to like the video and share this knowledge with your friends and family. And don't forget to check out the full video, link is in the description. Thank you.